Yeah, maybe twice a year this year, I don't know.
We're live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the Town of Moraga. This is our regular meeting. It is Wednesday, January 10th, 2023. It is 6:31. We're 1 minute late. This is the council chambers at 335 Ream, and I'm calling to order. All of the council members are here. And Steve, our vice mayor, would you lead us in the pledge?
My pleasure. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Steve. Next, special announcements. I see none. Proclamations and presentations. We have something that we're going to do this year, and I'm calling it 5 and 5. And what it is bringing people to the chamber so that everybody can learn about them. We have so many fabulous organizations in town that people don't know about. So if you know of some organization that needs to be spotlighted, I think that's the right word, highlighted, then please let me know. And tonight we have La Miranda Village, and we have Sharon Iverson, Maria, I'm going to say your last name wrong, Maria, Salerno?
Correct.
Okay, good. Catherine Ishizu and Gina Falconer. And yes, so welcome, and please give a 5-minute presentation with 5 or less slides.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Teresa, and the council for having us today and allowing us to share about La Miranda Village. I am the executive director, and I think Sharon.
Can you turn the microphone on?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So please start again.
Oh, darn. That's not a good start. Hi, my name is Kath. Oh, thank you so much to Teresa and the town council for having us today to share about La Miranda Village. My name is Catherine Ishizu. I am the executive director, and I have with me today our board members and Sharon Iverson, our board president, who will be also sharing something with me. So La Miranda Village is a nonprofit, is a vital support system for older aging adults with over 300 members and a volunteer base exceeding 200. We are dedicated to enabling older adults to age gracefully within the comfort of their homes, thanks to the collaborative efforts of our fellow members, volunteers, and community supporters. Our mission is to actively build a community that embraces connections, caring, and choices in how we live and thrive. We believe that villages run on the power of connecting people who possess abundant energy, creativity, knowledge, and the determination to make the world a better place for each other. It's notable that our board is comprised of older adults using their expertise and past experiences to create something both meaningful and beneficial for their peers. We believe that, La Miranda Village opened its doors for services April 2015, and since then we've been providing help with transportation, handyman services, grocery shopping. I don't know if you all remember during the pandemic, we opened our services to all older adults here in the community with the help of community volunteers, and we served over 2,000, we delivered over 2,000 groceries we delivered over 2,000 grocery shopping and delivery services to help seniors during shelter in place. Sorry about that. We also have computer tech help, declutter help, gardening help, check-in calls, and a recommended professional list for those things that our volunteers are unable to help with. During the big storms this last year, we mobilized Boys Team Charity to fill and deliver sandbags. And we give every new member a filled emergency go bag in cases of wildfires. We leverage behavioral science to promote proactive, healthy aging, targeting 3 key areas: physical, cognitive, and emotional health, through a range of activities. For physical and cognitive help, we offer chair yoga, memory class, meditation class, Turning Point, Bereavement, Balance, which is a bereavement class, sorry, Balance class, brain enrichment classes. We have village presentations with expert speakers, and we have fire safety presentations, reservoir walks, tango, just a range of activities that suffice for that type of thing. For most people are aware that exercise and eating healthy or eating well is important, but recently research has determined that isolation is equated to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So we provide numerous opportunities to connect. We have discussion groups for men and women. Coffee and conversation is what they're called. We have golden happy hours throughout the community. We have our annual afternoon of gratitude, and where we thank our members, our volunteers, and our community supporters. We also have member luncheons. We have an art and wine gallery that with our talented members. And we also do field trips. We've been to the theater, San Francisco Symphony, Ruth Bancroft Gardens, this is just this last year, and winery excursions. While La Miranda Village primarily caters to its members, the key objective is to extend support, or one of our key objectives is to extend support to the broader community whenever possible. I had mentioned that we are a membership organization and we rely on membership fees, grants, and donations, but we also have supported memberships for people, for people who cannot afford our fees. 25% of our fees, 25% of our members are supported. Noteworthy for Moraga residents, we have secured a $5,000 grant from Our Savior Lutheran Church to help fund qualified residents of Moraga. One thing we're proud of is that we have never turned anyone away. And I just completely skipped, so sorry. Community services to all. We do want to let you know that we connect service organizations to seniors. For example, the Spirit Van, we use the Spirit Van, and also Mobility Matters. We are the call center for Rotary Helm Team, which is a volunteer service once every other month where the Rotary comes out to serve seniors with handyman help. We have weekly email with resources. We have village conversations. I think we mentioned that with expert speakers every week. We have vaccine clinics, and I think Renata had mentioned we started that in 2021 with the very first vaccine clinic where we vaccinated over 600 people at a drive-through clinic at Stanley. I believe it's the first pop-up drive-through clinic here in California, possibly in all of the United States. But since then, we've continued to do vaccine clinics, about 2 a year, just to make it easy for people to be able to register and go ahead. We have a SWELL clinic, which is at the Lafayette Library, and that SWELL stands for it's actually senior or student wellness, depending on time of year, but it has coffee and games, and we have happy hours and opportunity to volunteer. We call that a gift of service. Whether you are wanting to volunteer or you're receiving volunteer help, we offer that. In that picture right there, we have our founder, Ruth McCacken, sorting groceries at Chateau Lafayette, which is a low-income senior housing, in partnership with White Pony Express. Sorry.
Excellent.
And then I was going to end with supported membership, but I turned it around. Sorry about that. And then I think
I will.
Sharon.
Hi,
Sorry.
I'm Sharon Iverson. I'm the president of La Miranda Village. Thank you so much for having us here. It's very, very helpful to be able to expose what the La Miranda Village does for our members. Teresa was very, very helpful in giving us 3 questions to answer for you, and I'm going to do my best to do that. Her first question, which is absolutely necessary, is how do Moragans benefit from La Miranda Village? Well, of course, if you're members, you get all the things that Catherine has just described, and that's well and good. But And of course, we would like more members, more Moraugans to join us in that capacity. But even if you're not a member, we have, as Catherine spoke in the very last slide, activities and programs that you can all participate in. As she mentioned, vaccine clinics, online lectures. We share our resources online to anybody who wants our online access. We have happy hours. We had a happy hour in Moraga just this last year. Actually, it was in fall, I think, October. And it was delightful. It was at the beer garden down on Moraga Way, so we all enjoyed that. Anyway, there's also opportunities to volunteer. Adults, empty nesters, teens who want to put something on their resume. We'll welcome all volunteers, no matter who they or where they may live as well. A second question that Teresa asked was, what can Moragans look for in La Miranda Village in the year 2024? We've just completed our strategic plan. I'm sure all of you have been through strategic plans before. It's, hair pulling and all the rest of it, but we've just completed ours, and we're now in the implementation phase that will begin this spring. And we're looking to strengthen our wellness program, and that's particularly the proactive, preventative kinds of programs that anybody can join in. And so we're forming with various institutions in the Bay Area. The Buck Institute, if you're all familiar with the Buck Institute, that provides research in aging, very sort of cutting-edge research. We are partnering with them. We're partnering with University of California at Berkeley. We have lots of our members who have been professors at Cal, and we have partnered with them to share programs throughout the year. We're also looking to partner with Kaiser and John Muir, who've expressed interest in our programs, and we've expressed interest in their senior programs as well. And you can also look for more social connections here in Moraga. Catherine just yesterday, I think it was, talked with the manager at Hacienda to look for space for programs that we can provide here in your territory, so that you don't have to, your people do not have to go to Lafayette or Orinda. So they'll be right here in your city as well. And finally, how can Moraga and the City Council show its support? Well, you've done so tonight, and we really, really appreciate your inviting us here to be able to share with you what we know of La Miranda Village and how committed we are to it. So exposure is absolutely one of the major needs that we have, and you can help us with that as you have tonight. If there's a senior in town or a group of seniors that you're aware of as a city council, we would hope that you would say, particularly a senior that might be isolated, that needs these kinds of services, we would hope you would let them know. And you now have our phone number. You would let them know what we can do for them as well. Word of mouth is exceptionally important to us. And when you think of your own parents, perhaps some of them do live nearby, or older residents, older neighbors, etc., we would be welcoming their call as well. We really appreciate your putting us in the rec guide. Thank you very much. It's that kind of exposure that we really need. And communities are important to all of us, obviously. And they seem to become even more important to those of us who are older. It's funny, we only vote in elections usually just once a year. But it's how we vote every day about the kind of community that we want to be and the kind of community we want to share with our neighbors. So we appreciate your support. We want to help you make your city even stronger, and hopefully you'll make us even stronger. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ladies. So any questions or comments from council? Renata?
Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for educating us. And as Catherine mentioned, I became a huge fan of this organization because of that pop-up COVID clinic. My 92-year-old dad was visiting from the East Coast. We were terrified that he was going to get COVID. and he was one of the people who got inoculated like the first day the vaccine was available. It was an incredibly well-organized event, and I've been a fan ever since, so thank you.
Any other comments? Steve?
Thank you. And just a quick thank you for coming tonight. I learned a lot about you tonight, so I very much appreciate that. My learning curve is much higher at this point.
Carrie?
Yeah, I also just wanted to thank you for coming. I've heard of the organization, but I honestly didn't know about the services you provide, so this was very educational for me. I also just wanted to thank the mayor for implementing this. I think this is fantastic to be able to get information just about the different things going on in our community we might not otherwise hear about. Thank you.
You're welcome. No? Okay, well, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming and letting us know all about the wonderful things that you do.
Thank you
Okay.
for having us.
Next, public comments and suggestions. And this time is reserved for those in the audience who wish to address the town council on items which are not on the agenda. The council cannot discuss details or vote on items not on the agenda. Your concerns may be referred to staff or placed on a future agenda. Public input will also be taken during each agenda item. Public comments may be made on the consent agenda. So I see no public comment, so we'll go on to adoption of consent agenda. Before I go into that, we have to, number 6.2, we need to approve by motion. So would somebody like to move acceptance of 6.1?
Madam Mayor, that can be approved. That doesn't need to be separated out, right?
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Okay.
I think it just is a carryover from the title of the item.
Okay, good, thank you. That makes it simpler. Would anybody like to poll or move to consent the items on consent?
Madam Mayor, I just have a question on 6.2, if I may.
Yes.
Is there, Amy or Scott, is there anything on this calendar that you want to bring to our attention to make sure that we don't screw up in our
Madam
scheduling?
Mayor, members of the council, I would just like to comment that you'll see the non-Wednesday meetings, we still have highlighted in case there's a need for a special meeting. So it's always good on those that you are available should an item have to be scheduled.
Thank
I hope
you.
that provides some clarity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or thoughts? Nope. Okay, would somebody like to move?
I'll move approval.
There is one thing. Normally it's on Wednesdays you meet, but the second meeting in this month, January, will be on January 23rd, a Tuesday, rather than January 24th, because two of the council members are going to a league academy on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of that week.
Great, thank you.
And we thank them for going.
Yes. All right, I move approval.
Second.
Okay, it's,
Madam Mayor, before we take a vote, there's no public comment, correct?
there's no public comment. Thank you for that. Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? It's 5-0. Thank you. Next is adoption of a meeting agenda.
Move for adoption of the meeting agenda as proposed.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any thoughts, questions, concerns? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Second, thank you. It's 5-0. Next, reports. Shall we start with Renata? No, we start with the town manager.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, at the end of the meeting, I'll talk about upcoming items. But I do want to point out, it's raining today. We've had a fair amount of rain over the last couple weeks or so, and happy to share with you that there have been no notable incidents here in Moraga. So things are working, knock on wood. So things, the infrastructure has been working very well through today's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Renata, would you like to start?
Sure, I'd be happy
Reports.
to. Happy New Year, everybody. So since 2018, I've had the privilege of representing the town on a number of transportation-related boards, commissions, and committees in Contra Costa County. So from time to time, I'm going to report out on transportation topics that are particularly relevant to our constituents and to our town. This council, as everyone knows, has talked a lot about Measure K, which is the town's 1 cent sales tax that funds our streets and infrastructure projects. Today, I'm going to talk briefly about a different measure. It's called Measure J, which is the county-wide 1/2 cent sales tax. The county's Measure J tax is critically important to the town of Moraga, as it is for all municipalities around the county. If you look at our 5-year capital improvement program, you'll see how many projects and programs in Moraga are funded either in whole or in part by Measure J funding. So for example, Measure J made the following things possible, or will make the following things possible in Moraga: the Canyon Bridge, Corliss Drive safe routes to schools, the town-wide pedestrian and cyclist safety program that is sometimes referred to as the Complete Streets program, pedestrian and cyclist improvements in front of Joaquin Moraga Intermediate School, the La Marinda School Bus program, which transports scores of Moraga kids to and from our elementary schools and our middle school, and the County Connection bus service, which Moragans use to get to and from the Lafayette and Orinda BART stations. Measure J has also funded projects and programs outside of Moraga that improve the travel experience of everyone in Contra Costa County, such as the fourth bore of the Caldecott Tunnel, express lanes on Highway 680, improvements to BART stations, improvements to the heavily used interchange between Highway 680 and Highway 4, the county-wide Smart Signals program, which we've talked about here, autonomous vehicles such as the Presto shuttle service in Bishop Ranch, a school bus program in the already congested San Ramon Valley, paratransit programs for underserved communities throughout the county, and fixed route bus programs that are in addition to County Connection. So those are but a few examples of how the Measure J 1/2 cent sales tax in Contra Costa County has improved the transportation experience for all Moragans and for people in the county as a whole. And I'll talk about other transportation funding sources and who controls the purse strings at a later date.
Thank you, Renata. Thank you for all that information. That's fascinating. Next, Carrie.
I do not have a report that is anywhere near as comprehensive as that, but I would like to say Happy New Year to everyone. It's good to be back.
Great. I bet you were spending a lot of time with your kids, and that's
We, I believe, successfully potty trained our youngest over the holiday.
excellent. Congratulations.
That is an achievement. And thank you for not going into details.
Steve.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy New Year to all. I'm going to speak for a couple minutes with regard to MOFD, the Moraga Orinda Fire Department, and fire prevention. In late 2023, the MOFD board had authorized another $90,000 to purchase and distribute another 50,000 feet of stainless steel gutter guards to Moraga and Orinda. This supplements the 50,000 feet that they already distributed, and approximately 200 residents between the two towns received gutter guards for an average of about 250 feet of gutter guard per resident. This has been a very, very popular program, which is why a second tranche of purchase was authorized, and it was already received and to great degree spoken for. There is approximately 15,000 feet of gutter guard left to be spoken for. So if anyone wants to take advantage of this wonderful program, fill out the application, go to the MOFD website, fill out the application, submit it. They will respond, provided there's still gutter guard left over at that point, and you can go pick it up.
Excellent.
Okay. So, and a second issue with, or message with regard to MOFD It, excuse me, at the end of the last year, they approved implementing a $250,000 Coastal Commission grant to reestablish annual grazing on the Painted Rock parcel.
Good.
This will address both equipment and efforts required to take care of this. They're working with the property owner, John Muir Land Trust, and the funds must be expended by the end of April, so it's going to happen this year.
Good.
This should end, or this should signal an end to the preventative fires that have been going on for several years. And for those people who don't like the smoke or the scene, that should be a really positive thing. An outstanding item with regard to that in general, I think we have an outstanding action item for NGO with regard to the Moraga Gad, to find out if we can consider grazing for the Moraga Gad. And if it's okay with the mayor, I will follow up with NGO and find out where that stands.
I'll be talking with them tomorrow.
I'll leave it with you.
Okay.
Let's see, also, I've had some interactions in the last few weeks, actually, and it included on Friday with the town manager. There is a new organization in Moraga, Orinda. It is called the Fire Safe Moraga, Orinda. It's a 501c3. It is separate from Firewise neighborhoods. The purpose of this FSMO, or Fire Safe Moraga Orinda, is really to pursue grants to assist residents in the towns to reduce fire fuel. And there are some details associated with it. It's just being initiated. More information will follow. I think you may have all been introduced to this, but it's a not associated, or so to speak, it's not part of the Moraga or Orinda governments. It's separate from the Orinda Measure R.
Thank you, Steve. David.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I have, you may remember last year, I neglected to bring a gift to honor our outgoing mayor. And it's been a year, but tonight I remembered to bring it. Yes. And I would like to present it to her now, if that's okay.
Please do.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Very nice.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. It's beautiful, and I am just so deeply touched that each of you did something special for me. I can't tell you what it means, so thank you so much, David.
And the little bow comes right on. I didn't.
Thank you.
Other than that, nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. I think that was a lot to report. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So I thought I'd give people kind of an idea of what it's like to be mayor for a couple weeks. So I have talked to Sustainable Contra Costa, Garden Club, Friends of the Library, LAC, St. Mary's College, Moraga Youth Involvement, Moraga Educational Foundation, and that's the list that I can think of, but there's been others. So that's those who want to be mayor, put some time aside, because it's a serious job, and it's really, really important for this town, for all of us to be connected. So that's part of it. And I wanted to also pat Public Works on the back, because today when I was driving past the Commons, I saw Public Works out with their rain jackets. It is pouring down, and they are out there while we're all inside somewhere, and they are moving shrubs and doing all kinds of things. So I just wanted say thank you so much for all that they do in the worst weather possible. So anyway, end of my report. Next we have public hearing. Next we have public hearing, and I see none. So next is ordinance, resolutions, and requests for action. And the first one is the town council representatives to committees and boards for 2024. And we're supposed to discuss the various appointments as presented by the mayor during the council meeting and direct staff to bring the 2024 Moraga Town Council committee appointments back to the council on the consent agenda at the next town council meeting. So what that means is we all have committees that we're on. And I'm going to, and I've talked to all the council members, and I'm going to say the committees that we have come up with that the council members would be serving on. And I will start with, luckily these pages are all numbered. Thank you, Scott. I will start with page 1, which is 2024 Moraga Town Council Committee appointments. And the first one, these are standing committees. The first one is AFC, which is Audit and Finance Committee. And usually you have the mayor and the vice mayor. So that will be Onoda for first appointment, and second appointment will be Wallace. And then the next is ad hoc committees, and we don't have any at this time. And then next is liaisons. And ABAG, which is Association of Bay Area Governments, I have first appointment is Wallace, and second appointment is Sauce. AUHSD, which is Acalanes Union High School District. I have first Shapiro and second Onoda. And next is Contra Costa County Mayor's Conference. And usually the mayor attends with the town manager. And if the mayor cannot attend, then the vice mayor attends. However, I think if all of the council members wanted to attend, I think that would be a good idea. But it's, of course, up to them. It's on Thursday nights. The first one will be tomorrow night. And it's in different towns or different cities in Contra Costa. So our next one is in Antioch. Next on our council committee appointments is East Bay Mud Liaison. And I have Wallace and as first appointment and Onoda as second appointment. Okay, going on to page 2 of 4. The next one is League of California Cities, East Bay Division. And I have Sauce as first appointment and Onoda as second. And next is Chamber of Commerce, a liaison, and I have Sauce as first appointment and Wallace as second appointment. Next is MOFD, and that is Moraga Orinda Fire District liaison, and I have Wallace as number 1 and Hillis as number 2. And next is Moraga School District liaison, and I have Shapiro as 1 and Onoda as second. And next is the most fun one of all, Moraga Youth Involvement, and I saved that for myself. I'm sorry, everybody. I couldn't resist. Thank you. That's one of the joys of being mayor. So, and I have Shapiro as my second appointment. Next is St. Mary's College, and I have Onoda as first and Sauce as second. Now, page 3. These are voting delegates on board members, and the first one is Recycle Smart, formerly CCCSWA, Contra Costa Solid Waste Authority, and I have first as Sauce and second as Hillis. And both of those are voting members, and Renata was the chair last year, and it's really a big job. So I thank both of you for being part of this. Next is League of California Cities, and I have Onoda as first and Wallace as second, and that's traditionally mayor and vice mayor. And next is Contra Costa Transit Authority, and there's Sauce, and she talked about that earlier tonight, and then second is Wallace. And next is La Miranda School Bus Transportation Agency, and we have Shapiro as number 1 and Hillis as number 2. And next, this is a fun one, SWAT, LPMC, FFA1, and it's Southwest Area Transportation Planning Committee, La Miranda Program Management Committee, La Miranda Fee and Financing Authority, and then RTPC, Regional Transportation Planning Committee. Clearly, this is a sauce. And second is Waulakee. Next is MCE, and we have Hillis as first appointment, and he was first appointment last time as well, and Onoda as second. And now there's something kind of interesting. When we appointed for Art and Public Spaces, we were supposed to appoint one person, and they both were so fabulous that we appointed both of them, which kind of changed our charter and made it so that we have to kind of reinvent it a bit. So I'm suggesting that we have that as a liaison, a council liaison to Art and Public Spaces, and that's a non-voting member. And then we add one more member so that it's an odd number, because right now we have 6. And it's good to have the council member, in my opinion, not being a voting member. I think it makes it cleaner for Art and Public Spaces. So that's something I suggest, and I would like to hear what everybody has to say about that.
Madam Mayor, I think we already green-lighted that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
think
we
you have
did-
council approval.
Okay, well, good. Then that makes it simple. I'll just say yes, and it's been voted on. Amen.
So just to clarify, though, if there are changes to the charter for Art and Public Spaces in terms of having that additional person
Yes.
on the committee, that would need to be brought back separately to the council
Yeah.
so that we could change their charter.
We already did that.
Well, we didn't, what we did is when we interviewed the candidates, we, by motion, agreed that we would do what you just said.
Okay.
To change the charter, to make those changes, to make this a liaison appointment, non-voting liaison appointment, and we directed staff to come back to us with the appropriate documentation to effect that change.
Okay, just to make it be 100%, let's vote on that right now. So
Well,
can we,
no.
no, we can't, it's not agendized. Okay, okay, great, all right. But maybe,
But it sounds like we already have the direction, so we'll
Yeah.
work on
Okay.
bringing that back.
thank you.
Is that something that can come on consent, maybe?
I think it could.
Sure.
Scott, would
Yes.
that work? Amy, would that work?
Yes, we'll put it on, we'll get it back to council as soon as we can. We'll target the next meeting.
Okay, terrific.
I'll put it on the forecast.
Thank you, everybody. So Amy, are we good with all of that?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. And do we need to vote on that? No, because it comes back to us.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah, you.
A couple of things I wanted to make sure got reflected, because I know that we've had a lot of turnover and I want to make sure things haven't
Okay.
fallen through the cracks.
Go ahead.
On some of the appointments. SWAT, PMC, LFFA, I will be chair this year of those. I don't know if we need to note that, but I saw it was there for 21, so I'm up again. On the County Connection Advisory Committee, which is on page 4, second line, that is now vacant. Jim Yu has not re-upped, so we need to find somebody, and I'm hoping we can get going on that ASAP, and I will offer my support in recruiting people, because it's a very important committee. On the Library Commissioner, I recall that a few months ago, Amy, I think it was before your time, we appointed both a first appointment and a second appointment. My apologies, I can't remember their names, but it should be in the documentation to make sure that is there. And then on CCTA, the Citizens Advisory Committee, the first appointment is Chris Sanders, and he is there, and he's very active. He's been incredibly helpful. He's my consultant. We talk before every CCTA board meeting, and I get his input. He's really great. So,
I'll give that feedback to him.
thank you.
Oh, good.
Is there a second on CCTA, or is it just the first?
For the Citizens Advisory Committee, no, there's just a primary.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything? Okay, good. So I think we can move on. Thank you for all of that. Yes.
I may not have heard you say for this art and public spaces, we're going to change the charter of that group, but who are you choosing to be
Oh, good
representing
question.
us?
Okay, me,
Okay.
yeah. Luckily, Mayor, I get to do that. For the council liaison.
Yes, that's what I was
Yes.
asking about.
With the same second?
Yes, we sure can have an alternate, and I have Shapiro down as an alternate. Thank you for that. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So next, that was 10A.
Before we move on, we didn't take public comment on that item.
Oh, thank you. You know, it's hard to think that when there's not many people out there, but is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none. Thank you. Next is 10B, audited finance reports and fiscal year, and we have Amy. Lisa. Yes, sorry, that's Amy. Yes, we have Lisa. Thank you. And Vicki, perhaps.
Yes, we have
Okay.
some new faces, right?
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Lisa Malik-Zadeh. I'm the Interim Administrative Services Director. And I am going to hand this item over to our auditor, Vicki Rodriguez, who I think everyone has met in just a moment. And I wanted to just make a few comments, if that's okay. And then Vicki will go through, she has a brief PowerPoint. So I did want to just start off by thanking all of the staff that put a lot of hours into the work that went into the audited financial report. Most of it was not me. It was the outgoing Administrative Services Director, Annie too, so I want to acknowledge and thank her, as well as the other staff in Administrative Services, as well as the other town staff that contributed to this. I also want to thank the AFC, our Administrative Financial Committee, that also had an opportunity to review and comment, and we did address those in the version before you. I did check in with our chair, AFC chair, but he's not here this evening, but I did talk with him yesterday, and he also felt sufficiently satisfied with the changes were incorporated, the ones that were brought up at the committee meeting. So I think that is it with my comments. I'm going to turn it over to Vicki, who's going to go through a presentation, and of course, if you have any further questions, we're here to answer those.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think that's on. Okay. Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me this evening. I did go through this presentation with the Audit and Finance Committee, so I'm sorry if this is boring again to go through the same information. But I am from Mays & Associates. I'm Vicki Rodriguez. I am the engagement partner on the audit. We did complete the audit of the town's independent audit of its basic financial statements for fiscal year ended June 30, 2023. Just to give a little bit of background, so the town does have an ordinance regarding oversight, annual audit, and public report. Annually, the town council retains an independent auditor, it's Mays & Associates, to conduct an audit of and provide audited financial statements for all of the town's financial activities. Just a little bit of background on Mays & Associates. We've been in business since 1979. We've been municipal auditors since the 1980s. We work on over 150 different municipal entities, including 50 cities and towns, and we also issue over 40 annual comprehensive financial reports each year. And most importantly, we are independent from the town. So the annual audit, the services that we have performed and are performing, we did complete the audit of the town's basic financial statements. We also performed and agreed upon procedures over the appropriations limit calculation. We also performed a compliance audit for Measure J. So as Councilmember Sauce mentioned earlier, those are the Measure J funds received through CCTA. And we will be completing the compliance audit of federal awards, so that's the single audit. And that's due March 31st, and we will be completing that and having that completed prior to the deadline. All of these audits are conducted according to audit standards generally accepted in the U.S. So just a little bit of information on the audit itself. We did complete the interim phase back in June, and that's where we look at the internal control environment, get an understanding of who's performing what functions, who's reviewing reconciliations, looking at segregation of duties, and this is also where we perform our tests of transactions or our control tests to ensure that the controls are in place. We then came back in October to perform the final phase, and that's where we're doing the testing of the financial balances. So this is after finance staff have completed the general ledger closing. We review the balances, and we assist in preparing the financial statements, including the footnotes. So the overall results of the audit, we did issue an unmodified opinion over the basic financial statements, as well as the Measure J compliance audit. And so the unmodified opinion is the cleanest opinion that the town can receive. So congratulations for that. We also performed the agreed upon procedure over the calculation of the appropriations limit, and we had no exceptions related to that calculation. So the annual comprehensive financial report, or we call it an ACFR. So the different components, so what the town is required to have in its basic financial statements is the auditor's opinion, the management's discussion and analysis, and that is written by town management, the statements, as well as the footnotes. Now, the town does elect to actually go for an award to get the certificate of financial reporting excellence. So they go a step beyond, and so they include also a transmittal letter. They required supplemental information, which is primarily data relating to budget actual statements, as well as the statistical data over the pension accounting. Also supplemental information as well as statistical section. So this is just to show that the town did receive the GFOA award on its June 30, 2022 ACFR, and they will be submitting the June 30, 2023, and we believe that they will receive also, that you will also receive the award in 2023. So just a little bit about some nuances within the report. So you have your entity-wide or the town-wide financial statements, and then you have fund financial statements. So the fund level statements, that shows activities by fund, and that's usually based on different revenue sources. So you have your general fund, and then you have special revenue funds for different grants or other sources, capital projects funds. Those funds show only the current assets and current liabilities. And so that follows along more closely with your budget, how you budget the funds. And the equity portion of that is called fund balance. The entity-wide or town-wide, that consolidates all of the financial activities for the town. So that's all activities. And that not only includes the current assets and current liabilities, but also long-term assets, like your capital assets, as well as long-term liabilities, like your long-term debt and your pension liabilities. And then the equity portion for that is called net position. This year, there was one GASB, or Governmental Accounting Standards Board pronouncement, that was implemented. That's GASB 96. Related to subscription-based information technology arrangements. So this required the town to look at its different arrangements, determine those that were long-term and non-cancelable, and they did, management did establish a threshold of 10,000 to record those. In going through that, the town determined that there was one arrangement that needed to be recorded under this GASB. which then there was a recorded capital asset of about $85,000 related to that. That's the Springbrook accounting system that was recorded. And then there's an offsetting liability of about $88,000. So not a significant impact to the net position, but these are recorded. And then there are new footnotes, so that would be footnote 110 and footnote 8 that detail that information. So from a town-wide perspective, the town has assets of about $105.5 million, deferred outflows of resources of $4.3 million, liabilities of $17.2 million, deferred inflows of $5.2 million, and then net position of $87.4 million. The net position, 82% of that consists of net investment in capital assets, and then 7% is restricted, and 11% is unrestricted. So just looking at from the changes from 2022 to 2023, you'll see that your net investments in capital assets increased by $5.4 million. Your restricted net position decreased by $1.9 million, and then unrestricted increased by $5.6 million, an overall increase in net position of $9.2 million. Just some financial highlights related to the general fund. Fund balance ended at $11.3 million, so that's your assets less your liabilities. That's a $566,000 increase from prior year. Of that $11.3 million, there's 3.2 or about 3,200 that's non-spendable, that's related to prepaid expenses. 1.6 million is restricted, and that's related to the amounts that are in the pension trust, as well as the deposits. There's 4.3 million committed related to developer fees, and then overall the remaining balance is 5.4 million that's unassigned. Also with the audit, of course, we look at the internal controls, as I had mentioned, and we issued a memorandum on internal control, also known as a management letter, and that, and as well as required communications. On the memorandum on internal control, we did note that we got an understanding of the internal controls, we did tests of controls, and we noted no control deficiencies. So there were no material weaknesses and no significant deficiencies. So overall, again, a clean audit. We did include in that memorandum just an other matter, that's just information of upcoming GASB pronouncements. The required communications usually talks about, changes in accounting, or if we had any difficulties in the audit or anything, any significant adjustments. We did discuss the implementation of the new GASB relating to the subscription-based IT arrangements. We had no significant audit adjustments, and not even any past adjustments that we feel we need to elevate. And overall, the audit process went very smooth. So again, very clean audit. And considering all of the changes over the past year, I think should really commend the finance staff and the interim ASD for all the work that they put into this, because it's definitely a lot of work that goes into this. So, and with that, any questions?
Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none. Oh, any comment? No, any public comment? Okay, seeing none. Any council comments? Renata?
This is about as uneventful an audit as you can have, right? Clean opinion, no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies, no significant adjusting journal entries, full transparency, full cooperation of staff, no disagreements. So thank you, and thank you to staff for setting that up. Lisa, Sylvia, Donna, and Stephen, great work. I also had the pleasure of participating in the Audit and Finance Committee meeting prior to this where we reviewed it. And I just want to commend the members of the committee for a very helpful discussion, great questions, great comments, and in particular from our newest members who provide not only expertise but a fresh perspective, and I think were active participants. And of course, this was all under the steady and strong leadership of Bob Kennedy, the chair of the committee. And I also, Vicki, thank you for your work and for your presentation. And for those who are interested in getting a nice snapshot of the town's finances, the introductory section of the audit report is a great summary of where we are, where we're headed, how things look. So I commend that to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. The fact that this holds together so well is really, really commendable. A great reflection on the town. And Vicki, thank you so much for your help in doing a thorough review. The great thing is this is not new. I mean, we as a town, Moraga as a town, I say we, Moraga as a town, has had a very strong financial competency, which I think, since it's a small town with a small staff, is especially commendable. I likewise thank staff and also Annie. It's up to the town manager, but I really think that some way to recognize the staff is certainly warranted. Just as a matter of note, I went to the California Auditor's Office website today to check on where Moraga is relative to the other towns or municipalities in California, and they haven't updated it since 2019, interestingly, which at least in the databases and the audit says, or the webpage says, we're focusing on other stuff, which I really took pride that the town was as high, strong financially as was demonstrated by that tally. Anyway, thank you.
Any other comments? Oh, Scott.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, well, it's nice to know that being boring is being rewarded.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to just stress and augment the comments that our auditor made. Because we've received a clean audit with no findings, no suggested corrections, that was well received by Standard & Poor's when they were going through the review of our finances, because they did get the draft ACFR, or the findings, I should say, and I believe that played an important role that resulted in a AAA credit rating for the town of Moraga and a AA+ rating for our COPs. So I just want to thank the auditors for your work, but the community got a solid 3 A's. So I wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Scott. How long has Mays been doing Moraga? Because I remember your company way back when I was just a new council member. Do you know?
I think this is my 4th year, and that was I was part of the new because the town did go out to bid. So I know that we were probably the auditors for at least the 5 years prior to that. But I know that I started 4 years ago when it went out to bid for a new contract.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm. Well, when I was looking at my staff report and I saw Mays, it was like, oh, it's like putting on an old shoe, it was very comfortable to have your company do our auditing. Thank you. Is there any more comments? No? Okay, well, thank you to staff for your excellent work. Like Renata said, we appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Would you like a motion, Madam Mayor?
Yes, I would like a motion, please.
I move that we accept the audited financial reports for the year ended June 30, 2023.
Second? Anyone? Second, Steve's the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's 5-0. All in favor. Thank you. Next, we have review and accept and file AB 1600 Development Impact Fees Annual Report.
The chief wanted to present this item, so I was just saying, please.
No problem.
You don't get in the way when the chief wants to present.
He has a gun.
That's right. All right. Again, I'm Lisa Malik-Zadeh. I'm the Interim Administrative Services Manager. The item before you this evening is the review, accept, and file the AB 1600 report on our development impact fees. This is a standard report every year. This is required by government code. The details of the report were published on the website on December 22nd, was it? 20? It was in the twos, I know that, it was right before, yes. So that has been available to the public since then. And I think that's probably all, unless there are any specific questions.
So are there any questions? Yes.
I have a question. Lisa, thank you. This is really straightforward, but I do have a question on what our best thinking is on when it's time for another Nexus study.
Yep, that's actually next steps. It is something that we have been talking about with Scott. So we will be putting together an RFP to go out and look for a consultant to do that study. It's past that time that we need to do one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Thank
coming
you.
soon.
That'll be on our agenda forecast. We've talked about that, as well as cost allocation, which is a separate issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, anyone in the audience have a comment or a question?
Chief?
Okay. All right, seeing none. Any comments? I'd like to throw something out there, and only because, it's development impact fees, and I know that this is something that I think we could look at in the future, but I'm just throwing it out that other cities have 1%, Lafayette has 1% of development fees that go to public art. Berkeley has 0.8%, and I think we might want to think about that sometime. Okay.
We duly note your
Yes.
consideration, your interest.
Well, I don't want
Your
to say too
passion.
much because it's not agendized, so I just wanted to throw it out.
Well, it's part of the subject.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yes, I thought so too.
Well,
Okay.
could we ask the town manager to consider putting that as part of an agenda item?
I thought at the end, when we say future agenda items, I would throw that out there.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So I move that we accept or approve the resolution reviewing and accepting and filing AB 1600 Development Impact Fees Annual Report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2023, in conformance with Government Code Sections 66,06608, and making findings regarding funds collected but not expended.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 0. It's 5-0. And Steve and Renata. Okay, next we have 10D. Oh, this is a good one.
Now it's my turn.
Yeah. Okay.
Ma'am, good evening. Congratulations. Welcome to your first mayoral meeting in a few years.
Thank you.
Nice to see you in the middle. What you have before you is ratifying the town manager's decision to bring back a CalPERS retired annuitant on a temporary basis to fill a vacancy in the police department. We have one of our civilian employees, so non-police officer, who is on an approved leave of absence for a short time, but that person has a very critical role. We really can't do without it, and fortunately, the Cheryl Tashira, who retired here about a little over almost a year ago now, was available to come back. hit the ground running. We didn't have to do a background or anything like that. She is, as she said to me this evening as she was leaving, she goes, I haven't forgotten to do any of this. This is great, you know. So it's been a very seamless approach. This is a critical time for us also. We have a lot of state reporting going on, and we actually have a lot of critical cases that are being processed to go to the district attorney's office. So she has fit in very well. And so this action requests that you approve this interim appointment to this position as an interim is only paid a salary. There's no benefits involved. She was not provided with a golden handshake to retire or anything like that. So it fits within the confines of the government code sections that are listed in the staff report.
Any questions? Okay, any comment from the public? Seeing none. Any comments? Yes, Renata.
This makes all the sense in the world, and I just love that we have retirees coming back. It's great to have them. I think it speaks well, John, of your department.
Thank you.
And of Town Hall in general. So this is great, and thank you. I assume this is all within your and Scott's discretion, but you're doing this for the sake of transparency and openness.
And also to ensure her retirement is protected.
Great, thank you.
And it's for all the right reasons. And it's actually the most efficient financial way to do it also. Because we're bringing her back, we're not paying a temp staffing company, you know, paying a premium over the salary, paying benefits, anything like that. So it works all the way around.
This sounds like a win-win, so let's.
Yeah.
I saw her at Trader Joe's the other day, and I thought, before this happened, and I said, I miss you. So I'm really glad that.
We have to come by and visit.
Yeah, that's wonderful news. Okay, would somebody like to move this?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
before we take the motion on this, I just wanted to mention there is an oral report pursuant to Government Code Section 54953C3 in the staff report that provides the compensated rate.
Thank you for that.
And it does not exceed the top step for the position.
Okay.
Pursuant to the government code.
All right, I'm happy to make a motion, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
I move that we adopt a resolution ratifying the town manager's decision to appoint Cheryl Teixeira as acting support services coordinator in the police department.
Second, anyone?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Thank you, Chief.
Very much.
All right, next, 11, discussion items. Seeing none. Council request for future agenda items. Yes, I would like to request that we look into how we could have art through some type of, how would you like to word that, Scott? What would be the best way to word that?
That's traditionally 1% or a percent for the arts impact fee.
Okay,
So
yes.
8% for the arts.
Renata.
Madam Mayor, would you be open to making this a broader agenda item and to include if there are other areas that could be covered by development fees that currently are not? I know
Yes.
Scott has mentioned medians and
Yes.
greenways, et cetera, and I would be appreciative if we could expand it to other things that staff might recommend that we include. Steve's got his hand up.
Steve, yes.
Yeah, and conceptually, I support this. I think all of the areas of town recreation are very important, including for mental health. The question I have, though, is should this really be part of what I expect to be one of our objectives for this year, and that is to look at a longer-term financial viability of the town strategically, as opposed to doing it individually, so to speak, because you know we have to look ahead and make sure that we've got long-term viability. So that I wonder whether it should really be part of that, and I'd be happy to consider that as part of it.
Okay, I think that's part of the staff report, to kind of consider all of those parts.
Well,
Scott, did you want to say something?
Oh, wait, I have a suggestion when you're
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, Renata?
I hear what Steve is saying. Maybe one way to frame this is to ask staff to address this, whether it's by separate agenda item or in connection with consideration of the broader matters, whichever one makes sense, but that it be addressed.
Okay.
Steve, did I get
Yeah,
your point?
yeah, sure, absolutely. Because
Teresa, are
when
you
when we
okay
do
with-
that, we got to look at the whole package.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd
as-
be done somehow, but the staff decide what the most reasonable way to do this is.
Sure.
As long as the arts are part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I'm
Yeah.
100% in favor.
Sure.
So let's
I can
vote on
comment to
this.
it.
Yes, Carrie.
I also agree as long as the concepts that were mentioned by both the mayor and by council member Sauce are both addressed. It's a similar idea that I've had for a long time that I
Yeah.
think we need to modify.
Yeah.
Good. So, yes.
Question, just because I got a little confused while people were talking. So what we're talking about is, in the future, we're going to think and vote on how we're going to designate percentages of impact fees for purposes of improving the town. Is that a fair summary? If so,
That's what I'm hearing.
Okay, then I think that's fair to think about.
So, Steve, you're thinking something different?
No, I was going to ask the town manager to address, I think we've discussed that we plan to look at long-term financial health of the city,
Yeah.
of the town.
So, Madam Mayor, members of the council, this is a very good introduction to your upcoming goals and objectives session.
Yes.
You're going to do, normally we'd do that in early February, but we want to wait, I've talked about this with the mayor, until we get the new administrative services director on board. We do have a person that's in process for that. It's not official, not public yet, but that person will likely start in February. So we'd like to have that person on board to be at the meeting in which you do your goals and objectives. Now, that said, council can decide that you want to tackle these issues and make it part of your top priorities for the following year, which would roll in nicely then to the upcoming new fiscal year, the second year of the biennial budget. If the council was interested in tweaking your impact fees or adding something new, doing something different for infrastructure, that can roll in nicely with the new fiscal year that's coming up.
And when exactly would you be talking about?
The session dealing with the goals and objectives, that would be on March, I don't have it out that far, in March.
Okay.
In the first meeting in March.
Okay, thank you. All right, shall we take a vote on what we've been talking about? Or do we need to?
I see a clear majority, so I don't think
Okay,
we
good.
need to take a vote.
Yeah,
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
It's pretty much unanimous.
All right.
Not a shaking of heads.
March 13th. I
March
apologize for
13th.
that.
Okay, thank you. Next, number 13 is communications. Seeing none. 14, town manager follow-up and announcements.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, follow-up, to be clear, on March 13th, you have the goals and objectives, and we'll include the items that you had talked about. I don't have any other follow-up from the items on tonight, other than on the committees, the Art and Public Spaces will come back as directed and have that report. So on some cool things going on around town, I have a few items the staff has asked me to comment on. Registration opens for the in-house Moraga Day Camp on February 1st. We're opening the recruitment for the summer camp counselors on January 29th. And if anybody's interested, just go to the town's website. You can find information about this. And Parks and Rec has something new that it wants to share. There will be a monthly movie series beginning next month, and the senior silver screen will take place in the La Sala room for free on the fourth Wednesday of each month at 10:30 a.m. And finally, the Commons Park restroom project that I know everybody is very excited about. Nice coverage in the local paper, nice front page photo. So that's the main building's been delivered, and we have some, as often is the case in local government, some technical challenges in the connection with the wastewater line, which has been there for several decades. So we're working as fast as we can, and we'll try to get that done soon. It might take a little while, but that's exciting to see that move forward. The next council meeting, as we talked about earlier, will be just a little bit less than 2 weeks from tonight, on January 23rd, not the 21st, but, not the 24th, but the 23rd. And one item of an interest, because I know council members have been contacted individually, the Moraga School District is contemplating, or it does have a measure on the ballot. So that'll be in front of you to better understand what it is and if you want to endorse it as a council. So that'll be on the agenda. That's the town manager follow-up and report. Thank you.
That's the agenda for the next meeting.
That's correct.
Okay.
On the 23rd.
Okay, next is, yes, Carrie.
I wanted to make a request that we adjourn in the memory of Oakland Police Officer Tuan Lee, whose funeral was earlier today.
Thank you so much for that. That's greatly appreciated, and I'm sure our people in blue and every other color would love to hear that. Thank you. Okay, adjourned. Do we vote on adjournment?
No.
No.
No. Okay, we're adjourned.
That's all that power you've got.